morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. The title of today's stream is Crypto Green, but is it real? Guys, welcome to Q4. For all of you that celebrate, happy Q4. Happy end of Q3. Happy end of hopefully the summer chop. And what an awesome way to kick off Q4 with some green across the board, guys. Alpha's pumping, beta's pumping. The only thing that's not pumping is the like button, but we will work on that later in the show, guys. Show some love, show some support. Guys, we're going to cover a whole lot of things today. We are a little bit short-staffed today. As you guys know, Chef just had a baby, right? The chef had a baby. So I think he's going full dad mode today. Today is not a Louis Tuesday. We got no Louis. I guess Tucker is on his phone in his in-laws' basement because there's some exterminator fumigating his home. So, I mean, he's just a ghost today. He doesn't have a profile picture up. It's a sad state of affairs over here at BB. But if there's one thing that I want you to remember us by, is that no matter what, we showed up every single day. We gave it our all, right? It was not team dependent. It was not like how many guys are here. We take the field no matter what, right? We take the field ready to give it our all no matter what. Whether we got one guy here, two guys here, six guys here, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna show you guys something great today. We're gonna put on a great show despite the lack of team that we have here today. Because guys, it is Q4. Like, we are going to kick this thing off in a big way today, guys, in a big way today, because I love what I'm seeing. I love green across the board, guys. I'm addicted to the green, right? After months and months of nothing but chop, horrible price action, PvP, emotional, financial, physical despair from people, the comment section attack ors. Is it vindication season? I don't even think it's alt season. I think it's vindication season, baby. I think this is where the good guys that stayed committed and showed up every single day, they get the last laugh. But Tucker, besides being on your phone in your in-laws' basement and having a rat problem or a bug problem or a raccoon problem, or I don't even know what the problem is, besides the issue that you're having, which is causing you to basically be on your phone without even a profile picture in your in-laws' basement, tell me what's going on, man. How are you feeling out there? Are you bear grid? Are you bull grid? Are you cautiously optimistic grid? How are you feeling, man?
Yeah. No, feeling good. It's actually spiders are the issue. These brown recluse spiders, which are a complete nightmare. But yeah, anyways, we're making it work today. We're doing our best. So, no, definitely bullish here. Definitely bullish. I mean, I think ETH looks great here. It pretty much looks like it confirmed that wick down to 3900 is more or less a deviation, and we are kind of back inside the range. Um, Bitcoin looks great. I'd love to see it above that high, basically where we're at right now. I'd love to see some daily closes above that. But definitely a huge start to Q4, right? I mean, we had basically the government shutdown scare and all that stuff going on yesterday, I guess the last few days. Everything was red, and historically, the stock market does that, and then it comes out and pumps. So it looks like that's potentially where we're at. Bitcoin up, what, 4% in the last 24 hours. So yeah, I think things look good. Like I said, ETH is at a pretty important spot. I think, above 43, 44, we're really confirmed back inside the range, because it kind of depends how you draw, right? If you just draw it as a regular old range, then we're already back inside. But um, if you draw the volume profile, we're kind of right at it. So a pretty big inflection point on ETH right here. Kind of all that choppy price action in early September is what we need to get above. Yeah, so right there, pretty important spot here for ETH. So, and again, the origin of the move being 4,500 about is is needed to, we need to look at that as well. Like Jackie says, the origin of the move is usually where we retrace to at a minimum. So I would love to see ETH push 4,500, obviously get above it, but I think that's, again, 43 and 45 are kind of the spots, in my opinion, to pay attention to. So, but constructive so far for sure.
Yeah, it looks to be constructive, right? And something that I was advocating for our entire Discord this morning was I said, go on your charts, do yourself a favor and mark out the Q4 open, right? And something I want to do on the show is, maybe it's a bit redundant for those that are already in our Discord community and we're on the morning call today. I want to go through and I want to mark out some Q4 opens from previous cycles or like previous phases of the market, because I think that there is a potential vulnerability. I don't think it's here like today. I think things look pretty good today. But they have been known to run some Q4 scams, right? But it really doesn't change anything on the higher time frame. So before we get into that, just kind of looking at this ETH range here. To me, as of right now, unless we have some terrible rejection here locally, to me, it looks like we are back inside this range, right? However you want to draw it, like traditional range, range high, mid-range, range low, volume profile range, however you want to consider it, right? This was the level that we were talking about, 2 days ago. Tucker, you literally drew it out just like this. It was like a box between the point of control, the area in which the most transacting has occurred within the range, and then our value area low. And we seem to be crushing those levels after a small rejection, crushing those levels, right? Here's the Q4 open. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can read it. But things look really interesting to me. They look really, really interesting to start off Q4 in such a way, to just be so bullish right out of the gate. The PTSD in me from the past, year of chop and pumps and fake reclaims is screaming, don't trust it. But also, we're coming off of a pretty aggressive selling event. ETH had a minus 22, minus 23%, something like that, quarterly sell-off, which is typically where it will find a bottom. And I'll pull this up right here. Because I tweeted this out. This is a useful exercise when just trying to determine like how bad a pullback really is, where it could, potentially bottom. And something that I pointed out to everybody was the following. For the entirety of this cycle, and I would argue the cycle kind of began in like Q4 2023, because we were in the bear market range, then finally got out of it. There's this level here that has consistently provided support for Ethereum. I tweeted this out in real time, and you guys can all use this script if you want. I published it for free. You should sign up for our shit because it's great. You get a lot of really good stuff. There's like another 30 indicators that are even better than this one. But this line right here is a minus 20% quarterly pullback, meaning from the high of the quarter, minus 20% drop. And for the entirety of this cycle, we've seen, kind of between minus 20-ish%, maybe minus 19 to minus 23% be that bottom, right? So we'll mark them out on the chart here, here, here. Even if just temporary support, it's been a pretty prominent level to expect a bounce from, right? Is that minus 19 to minus 23% quarterly pullback. And I tweeted that out when we were down here, and I was like, this is basically it. Like, you're going to either hold here or you're in for like one of these, 40 to 50%, or 35 to 50% corrections, which I didn't think contextually made a whole lot of sense with just how the market looked. What the heck just happened there? So yeah, I'm encouraged to see that once again, this more or less played out, right? So the big question is going to be, are we getting a bullish Q4, or is this just that classic bounce from the quarterly pullback into, you know, potentially new high or a recovery, but that was a pretty nice level that we came into. And, you know, to add some context to the degree or magnitude of the pullback, you know, we were watching this range, and specifically we were watching this level, right, which was a retest of this previous range high here, this kind of local range high before the last markup. This is some textbook TA right here, guys, which is like range with, you know, deviations, right? Deviate the high, deviate the low, reclaim, move up, range, 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 deviate the high, then deviate the low while retesting your previous range high. And now we're moving up again with a perfect, what's kind of been the theme all cycle. Minus, looks like we got to minus 22.5% quarterly pullback, which is very much so routine. Things look really good as we're heading into Q4. But what I do want to transition over into, and you guys better get those likes up, the beginning of Q4. We're not doing soybeans today. I want to look at some previous Q4 price action, because although it's never the same, sometimes it's really similar, right? Sometimes it's really similar. Breaking 2,000% tariffs on China, there's no way that's real, right? There's no way that's real. That's an insane tariff. I can just look at the chart right now and tell you that can't be true. There's no way. There's no way. But let's do a little example here. And let's actually use Bitcoin. Let's use Bitcoin for it. So we're going to mark out a few quarterly opens, Q4 quarterly opens to be specific. Okay. So this is your Q4 open right here. I saved this template earlier to save some time. So here's your Q4 open right now. Little baby wick below, but basically pumping off the open, which is fine. Now we're going to ignore the bear markets because we are very clearly in a bull market. Like, look at this. This is a bull market, right? So I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to start comparing this Q4 to bear market Q4s that contextually are not similar at all to the regime that we're in. So do me the courtesy of saying, you're cherry picking. You know, we don't want to do that. I am cherry picking, but I think the context in which we apply this little study we're going to do I think it makes more sense to just look at the bullish ones. What up, Bear Metheus? Wait, cautiously optimistic Metheus is what you are. I'm sorry.
Bullish Q4 Metheus.
Okay, bullish Q4 Metheus, excuse me. So this was last year's Q4 open. Now let's go back and look at 2023, and then we'll zoom in a little bit and kind of look at the local structures after we mark out the actual opening ticks. All right, here was one right here. Q4 open. And we're going to skip some of the bear market ones because, again, this is a major downtrend, contextually nothing like what we're potentially dealing with right now. All right, and here is October of 2021. Okay. And then here is October 2020. October 1 was right here. Perfect. Okay. So looking at the potential like scenarios as we head into Q4 here, right? There's a couple things to note. One, typically, as long as you're like in an uptrend, a higher time frame uptrend, Q4 is typically a very, very, very bullish time for crypto. Very overwhelmingly bullish, right? And I know you could point to Q1 and be like, Q1's typically good too, and it was an absolute disaster. You would be correct. But just because seasonality didn't work once doesn't mean that seasonality forever is dead. That's my view on it, okay? That is very much so my view on it. It's just another point of confluence to use. The structure matters more. The flows matter more. The positioning of the market matters more. But let's dive into it. So this was Q4 open in 2020. So basically what we did off of here was dumped a little bit off the open, set the low early, And then by the second week of October, we started a face ripper, right? Absolute ripper. Okay. Let's keep moving. Q4 2021, we basically pumped right off of the open, set a little wick low, just kind of like we did here. Pumped from 43 up to 69, and then later in Q4 came back and took out the Q4 open with an aggressive sweep, and that kind of kicked off our bear market, right? But this one, if you had been saying to yourself the whole time, oh, we're pumping off the Q4 open, I'll buy the shakeout early, I'll buy this, and then I think up, you wouldn't have had that opportunity. You would have been stuck missing this entire rally. And not to mention that during this rally, altcoins performed tremendously well, right? You can see what ETH was doing. ETH rally here from, I'll put on the candles. This is ETH down here, Bitcoin up top. If you had said, I'm only going to start shoving after we get a Q4 shakeout below the open, you would have missed the Ethereum rally from, 2,800 up to 4,800, right? So just saying it doesn't always happen, right? Let's keep it moving. We'll skip the bear market because contextually it does not really align with what's going on right now. This is the only thing that I'm somewhat concerned about, is just a move like this. And concerned maybe isn't even, that might be an overstatement, right? Like, I'm not really concerned about it. It's just something that, like, I'm keeping back of mind as a real possibility. Something that happened on the Q4 open in 2023 was we pumped hard off the open like we just did. And there was a little baby wick below it, right? So we had like, so the open was 26.96 and the low was 26.95. So we had $40 of price action below the Q4 open before we pumped hard, took out all of the Q4 open longers, and then we went on the ripper, right? So this is something that, like, we've seen them run these Q4 scams before, right? We've seen them run these Q4 scams where, they fire you up, take out the stops, then they send it in the real direction, right? So maybe something like that. Last Q4, little dump off the open, flipped the open, and then, by the second, third week of October, we were ripping face, right? Where are we at right now? We are pumping off of the open, right? So the only thing that I'm really kind of keeping back of mind is a scenario somewhat akin to that of 2023, where if we look at this range, if we look at the structure, we could maybe say, okay, let me draw a volume profile here. We could say, all right, we are approaching a big area, right? We are approaching a value area high and range point of control. This is resistance, right? For now. If you flip it, I don't think you're getting your pullback, but this is a resistance area, right? I think if you flip this to like 120, then you're not getting a big pullback. I think if you kind of pop up into this and see it locally distribute, you could get a 2023 type of shakeout where they take out the Q4 open again, and then they start ripping it, right? So the only thing that is potentially on the table for me is a move maybe like this, right? It won't look exactly like this, but just kind of capturing like the spirit of the scam, which we know in crypto is incredibly important to try to capture the spirit of the scam. Maybe something like this, right? Maybe something like this. So I don't think you need to really plan too hard around it or really think too much about this. If it happens and we get like a 2023 style Q4 open shakeout, then so be it, right? But I also think there's an equal risk to the opposing side where maybe you just start ripping, like we saw kind of late cycle over here. Maybe you just start pumping, ETH rips, altcoins rip, and then way later we come back. It doesn't even have to happen like this quarter. It could happen next year or something, right? Then maybe we test the Q4 open. So there's plenty of instances where we've had little drops on the open, and if you shorted or sold below, you were cooked. We've had plenty of other scenarios occur where you start ripping off the open almost immediately within the first week or two, and you don't really come back to it for a while. So Q4 is typically really bullish, as you're seeing right now, right? And I think that the positioning of the market in general looks so good. Like a lot of a lot of strong alts look like they're finishing grueling summer-long reaccumulations. I think that ETH looks primed for price discovery, and we are seeing an early pump right off the open, which again will really mean one of two things. Either you're probably going to get something like this and you just rip and come back to it way later, or we're going to be in for maybe something like this, where you're coming out of summer chop with, this was a horrible range, right? Coming out of summer chop, pump off the open, scam drop to it, and then just absolutely rip it, right? So I think it's something to look out for, but it's not something that I would go all in or all out for. Like, I think if you are looking at this going, okay, it is time to sell all of my bags here so that I can, without question, 100% have the opportunity to buy them back down in here. I think there's an equal amount of risk in trying to do something like that, right? I think given how the market looks, it makes a lot of sense to be bullish here, but just kind of keep back of mind, like if they come back and sweep the Q4 open, they run at 118 to like 113. That's probably something that you just stomach and say, you know what? Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but like I'm playing this for a bullish 90-day, 120-day window, right? So I'm going to end my rant there so we can have more of a discussion, but I think that was a useful study, and I hope you guys see the value in what we just did, because the longer you're in crypto, how things line up seasonally and also structurally, how similar things can become. It's a bit spooky at times. They're like, no way that just happened again, right? That on the same day that we pumped 3 years ago, we pumped or something like that, right? It can be a little bit spooky. So things look really good. Just kind of keeping a close watch on maybe the 2023 structure of they pump it off the open, scam dump you, take out the Q4 open longers, and then rip it. But it's hard for me to be bearish this structure. Honestly, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, hard to follow up with that, to be honest. But I mean, Max, you also forgot to mention that didn't Binance list Bitcoin October 1st of 2017? Is
They
that
did, and we
true?
covered that one this morning, actually. Funny enough, the first trading day for Bitcoin on Binance was right here, October 1st, 2017, which is funny. I don't know what to make of that. I did notice that this morning when I was doing this for our Discord.
That's pretty incredible. And especially with CZ obviously kind of popping off here recently with all the, news behind the dexes and all that jazz. So very, very interesting stuff. And it's also around the time, I think it's just past a year anniversary of him getting out of jail as well. So things are kind of, the stars are aligning per se, but I'm very much so in a similar camp as Max. Like, I think selling here to try to buy back lower is probably the, the worst, you know, portfolio management you could possibly do. I've been looking at ETH as kind of my broader risk on signal for the markets. I touched on that in the Discord this morning, that I think Bitcoin is just going to be probably lethargic here heading into for the majority of Q4. Looking at our index charts like total 2 ES, total 3 ES, and just seeing how those are shaping up in relation to Bitcoin, to me is very much so indicative that we're going to see a lot of altcoin outperformance in Q4. And I think that kind of coincides alongside where you had marked out leading into the second top in 2021 in Bitcoin, that October that you marked out at the lows. I think we're very much so kind of in that area in regards to kind of from a cyclical standpoint where we're at, leading up into probably the latter half of, or the latter part of said bull market. Typically altcoin outperformance ensues. That chart to me looks so bullish. Really strong structural uptrend since the bear market lows, finally coming into the highs. I had discussed with the Discord, put out in my channel that, who could have foreseen or who could expect the market makers pulling some shenanigans here when altcoins or total 2 looks like it's about to break out. Yeah, you have total 2 up there. It looks like it's about to break out. But ultimately, things are looking fantastic. Ethereum is putting in very similar structure to what it's done since the April lows, where you sweep the range low. Everybody expects it to be over, and then you see some form of reclaim and continuation to the upside. It looks very, very, very good. Ethereum does, and I'm going to continue to use it as my barometer for where the markets are at. That alongside Solana and some of the other alts, I think is where a lot of the signal is at in regards to the charts. But Ethereum's kind of sitting in this like a little bit of a air pocket right now, an inefficiency. And I look at RSI on the daily. I also look at RSI on the daily with Solana, and just kind of how we're shaping up here. And they look like they want a lot higher. Yeah, very
Look at the
interesting.
monthly on total 2.
I know, it's
Like
insane.
we haven't even gotten above 70 yet. Like
No, I
we kind
know.
of poked our head above for half a second, but like doesn't really count. Like this is when the real gains occur, right? When you can get like an actual close up here above, above 70 on the monthly. We haven't even had that yet,
Is total 2 ES different with the RSI? Check that real quick. See if
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure it would be pretty similar.
it's almost identical. You're right though. I mean, gearing up for what, in my opinion, and I said this in the morning call as well. The market has been coerced into not having to believe in anything, right, Max? I
Mhm.
mean, it's been over the past 2 years, the hot ball of money, it's kind of coming to some kind of culmination, in my opinion, to where the people that are trying to rotate and rotate and rotate and rotate, they're gonna have a tough time doing that. And what I believe how the current market regime is going to be heading into Q4 and Q1 of next year. I just find it, very, very amusing that at this point people are trying to, like min max their portfolios with rotations at this point. You look at what strength has been shown in the markets and some of these altcoins, and you just gotta kind of believe at this point. If you want to hit some rotations, try to hit it on some leverage, right? There's been a lot of volatility in the markets. Trading has been fairly decent over the past 30 days, and you marked out too on Bitcoin. Some of the people were not around here for it, but the lack of volatility in 2023 was horrendous. And we've been blessed with quite a bit of volatility, as of recently. But I'm super stoked for Q4, man. Super, super stoked.
Yeah, we give me 1 second here. So just looking at like the 2 RSIs weekly and monthly together, you can see that like the real moves typically happen up here above 70, right? And hopefully we trend there, man. Like I really think that we should this quarter. But it just looks so bullish to me, man. Like the setup, just even like removing RSI, right? I mean, it's like what are you really expecting to happen with like this structure here? I mean, it looks like you just put in like a monster multi-year reaccumulation, right? Like it's like you have these ranges. So like here's your giant range, right? So giant range high, range low, mid range, bottom accumulation range right here. Bear market accumulation range, like bullish accumulation channel pressing up against the all-time high. It doesn't really get much better than that. honestly. And I know this is ultra high time frame, but it really doesn't get much better than that. That looks so clean, man. It looks so clean. Unbelievably clean.
Yeah, and a lot of those altcoins look identical. Talking like Doge, Link, the big boys, right? The big boys, blue chips. I mean, they're printing the exact same structure, right? I mean, it's a high time frame bullish market structure. And the interesting thing, right, about a lot of these blue chips is even throughout those significant drawdown periods that we saw from Bitcoin in the summer of 24, like the 8-month, horrendous range, the pullback that we saw at the beginning of this year to the April lows. I mean, they still remained in their high time frame bullish market structure. That's significant, that's huge. And I think it's something that a lot of people are kind of missing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, dude, Doge looks so similar to the
I
last
lost my
time
bet
too.
with Tommy.
Oh, you did?
Dude, he scammed me, bro. He knew it wouldn't happen and he scammed me.
What was there a time frame?
Yeah, it's by end of the month. Wait, was it? Hang on. By end of September. Yeah.
Oh no.
Dude. Unbelievable, man. Like,
wow.
at least I'm gonna beat Prometheus, but
Oh, whoa.
it's messed up.
Whoa.
You are
We'll
cooked.
see about
Prometheus.
that, guys. We need to put a poly market betting line out there. That way you guys can bet, the over under or whatever the money line for that.
Did you guys say $1 for Doge, or did you
New highs.
say new highs? Okay.
New all-time highs.
Yeah.
And if Max wins, we did agree on golf, and he threw in this morning that dinner might have to be a piece added in. And the best I can do, brother, is one of the hot dogs on the turn, when we're golfing.
I'll meet you in
Maybe
the middle with a
some
burger in the
relish.
clubhouse after. That's it. That's all I can do.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe have to get some Tacomas or something. I don't know.
Best I can do is a broad at the turn. That's unreal.
Yep. I mean, just looking at the Doge structure, Doge is a perfect example because it's got more price history than ETH. I mean, bro, this literally just looks like some extended version of like this, right? It literally looks the same to me, and then you held your demand down here, held your demand down there. I mean, it looks like we are just like seconds away from ripping. Q4 ripper, right?
Yep. Hey, I'm hedged, man. I don't lose either way.
Always hedged.
I make money no matter what happens.
Either way.
Sleeps well at night. Always hedged. Unbelievable.
Dude, I literally had a dream last night about like altcoins and it all just being some massive like Ponzi money extractor cabal. Like it was crazy. It was a crazy dream.
That does sound crazy.
Structurally better than last cycle, though, I will say.
Let's look at Doge against total. I think that will be kind of revealing, right? Because like the big move happens when, it happens when we can see Doge rip against total. Wait, why is that? No, I didn't do Coinbase. What the fuck? Doge USD crypto. There we go. I mean, the Doge chart against total. Why can I not get it in log? There we go. Doge against total just looks like it's just getting ready to do one of these like big markups, right? I don't know how else to describe this thing other than like it looks incredibly accumulative. You know, you could do something like this. It's not exactly perfect, but it looks like this thing is just getting ready to squeeze, man. Just absolutely squeeze.
You know what I think could be a catalyst now that I'm thinking about it for Doge is when, because Elon's wanting to make X the super app, when they start accepting Doge as payment, or like you can use Doge as like a payment on the platform.
That would be interesting.
I could see it. I know he's trying to get all the licenses right now in all the states so that they can execute.
Yeah, I mean, this thing looks so ready to go high time frame, man. So ready to go. And then let's look at Doge dominance, right? It's very similar chart.
Yeah.
But Doge dominance looks completely floored out, man. Like breakout, Trump pump, retest, range. I don't know what else to say about this thing other than like one day you're going to wake up and it's just going to be going.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's just how Doge works is like one day rolls to the next and you're up like, a significant amount.
A lot of people forget, like, too, with Doge, like 30, you could roughly estimate like 30% of the supply is burned at this point, like just floating in wallets across the, parents, uncles, aunts, people back from 2017, yada, yada, yada. I mean, there is a big chunk of this supply that is like no longer in the market, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the grandchild of Bitcoin, right? It's a fork of Litecoin, which is a fork of Bitcoin. It's older than Ethereum. It's a proof of work network. It was worth nothing for a long time. I don't know what the official estimates are for how much of the supply is effectively gone, not circulating anymore. But it doesn't matter. What I'm most excited about with Doge, honestly, is the fact that they have the ETFs now. And by the way, the Doge ETF launched in very similar fashion to what happened with something like Bitcoin. Let's take a look at it. This is the Doge ETF. From the high, pulled back, almost 24%. If we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin had a very similar drop when its ETF went live. I mean, this is most likely going to shape up just like the Bitcoin ETF did, but it's most likely going to pump so much harder because it's Doge, smaller market cap, meme coin, beta dynamics, right? I mean, this is exactly what Bitcoin did over here. It's the same thing. Pumped into it, dump, slowly recover. Like Doge it's doing what we were talking about this as soon as it launched. I was like, we pumped into it. Just be careful about like a 20% washout. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But it's hard to be bearish Doge here. Really hard. Just given everything, like the structure, how it looks against total as a pair, how the dominance charts look, which is basically just Doge against total. The fact that it just got an ETF announcement, pumped into it, dumped 24% off of it. And we're heading into Q4, which is typically the most bullish time in the market. The only question I have is, what are we even talking about?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah, no, I think a lot of ETF charts will most likely look like that, but yeah, I think you get Doge above that gap and it's game over, That's really all you worry about. But I guess Prometheus, if you were gonna hedge on ETH, where would you do it?
Like if I'm looking for hedges?
Yeah, if you're looking for hedges, where are you hedging?
Probably 44.50.
Okay.
Are we talking about hedging?
I just
On the
wanted to get
Q4 open?
Prometheus's hedge take.
Yeah, I'm
The
the
hedge-or.
hedge-or.
Yeah.
Always hedged, Max. Always hedged.
That's
He's at
pathetic, bro. That's sad.
44.50.
Study being 100% deployed and not giving a shit if we pull back. Study that.
Oh my god. No, I think you see 5,700 ETH by the end of by probably like end of November.
I mean, maybe this is an obvious spot for Hedge Metheus.
Hedge
Hurry up in here.
The hedgehog.
Do this. It's over. Boom.
Yeah. No, I mean we reclaimed the range quite clearly at this point on ETH. And I mean you've pulled up that ETH chart, Max. We literally just did exactly what we've done the entire way up, right? Sweep the range low, reclaim the range. What's next? Expansion. Every time. We've literally done it 3 times now. Like, guys, what are we talking about?
Does look similar. That's for sure.
And we did the very, very similar thing at back in July at like 3,500-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. I don't get what are the bears seeing here? Like what are they seeing?
They had an opportunity when Solana was at 250, and it was very short-lived. It was momentary, and that was it. You know, we went over kind of a psychology masterclass in the Discord last week, or at least I did, on the afternoon call on Thursday and Friday. You know, and I said, this cycle, how has it worked out thus far buying liquidation cascades? You have most likely done very, very, very well. How has it done by selling massive expansionary candles? You've probably done very well. So if we're in this capitulatory phase in a liquidation cascade, where should we be? What should we be viewing like the market as, or how should we be positioning accordingly? It should be you're looking for longs within the market, not shorts, right? You're not looking for shorts when everybody is freaking out. Most people are going to lose at this game. It's a sum zero game, and you know the big basket of people that are, you know, the herd mentality. They're going to lose. They're going to get taken to the slaughterhouse.
You got the frog up there, I see.
I do have the frog up there. I know what's coming. Some people don't see it, and if you don't see it, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't see it. Nothing I can do for you at this point. If you don't see it at this point, I cannot help you anymore. My window for helping you has come and gone. There's no more help to be had. It's over for you. We are getting ready to do this thing, the Ripper McGee. Okay. Right here. ETH just did this. Let me remove all these ranges. We just did this. ETH just did this. Before that, they both pumped off of the open together. They both pumped off the floor together. This is obviously a bigger move, right? You could compress it if you want to see it. This is clearly a bigger move, right? Much different position in the market. And during this time, Pepe was bleeding and chopping. During this time, Pepe was bleeding and chopping. But they did pump off of the floor together temporarily. But then once they got off the floor, Alpha stole the show. And yeah, you're going to see this when ETH finally gets back up where it needs to be. You are going to see Pepe go on an absolute face melter. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how to be more clear. This is all I've got. This is the calm before the storm. Same
Max,
thing.
a little birdie told me you're dressing up as Pepe for Halloween this year.
Who you been talking to?
I don't know.
Who you been talking to, Prometheus?
I heard it. Heard it through the grapevine.
You need to get that green man suit that Charlie has in Sunny in Philadelphia.
I might.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to start getting really vocal about Andy and Wolf here, guys. I am. I'm about to start getting really, really vocal about these two tickers. I've waited a long time. I have waited a long, long time for Andy and Wolf to finally be ready to go. I thought we were ready in Q1. Obviously, it was a massacre for the whole market. But it's time, because when ETH finally goes, these two are going to go, and it's going to be insane. They're doing the same thing, right? They pump off the floor together. They pump off the floor together. How many chairs are you guys sitting in right now? Sitting in 2 chairs?
How many chairs?
Yeah. How many chairs are you sitting in?
1 chair.
Yeah, that's right. You are sitting in 1 chair.
Is that a trick question? Am I missing the forest through the trees?
Do you not get the chair joke? It's not even a joke, actually.
Are you even in crypto? Bro,
I must not be. I'm completely missing the forest through the trees here.
how many microphones are you using? Are you hedging with 2 mics or just 1 mic?
I have 2 mics, yeah.
Really?
I actually have 3 mics.
Really? Because you're always hedged. That kind of makes sense with you.
Yeah. Well, so I got the camera mic, I got the headset mic, and then I got the stand mic.
I am so ready and so excited for this move, guys. It is time. Andy and Wolf did not exist over here for this first pump, but they will exist, and they will reprice aggressively for the second pump. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun. It's the same thing, man. What do you guys think?
I think so. I mean, they look a lot similar to Pepe, ETH, obviously. Not as much in that most recent box, but
Which box? This one?
like that top box where ETH is just going straight up and everything else is going sideways, you know?
But that's what we did over here, too.
That's true. That's true.
That's the comparison, is that ETH builds the runway, beta catches the big rotation. You are going to see these things fly, baby, fly. Fly. Guys, it's time to get vocal. There's a very, very small window left here. When ETH goes into price discovery, that's it. That's the trigger. Like, I don't know how else to put this. Like, it is clear as day. And I think everybody struggles because they conflate prices being down with like This idea of something being dead and never coming back. And I think that incorrect line of thinking comes from how many tokens there are this cycle and how many of them pumped and never came back, because they never had a correlation with the broader market. Like the fact that, Pepe, the highs and lows all form, the same as ETH, right? Beta alpha relationship. But then you move further down the risk curve and, Andy moves the same as Pepe, which moves the same as ETH. And Wolf, moves the same as Andy, which moves the same as Pepe, which moves the same as ETH. And ETH moves the same as, the IWM and like all the kind of macro risk on things. So it's like, yeah, I think a lot of people are just conflating like price being down, which is the most temporary aspect of holding beta, with this idea that they won't come back just because they've held a coin before that pumped and will never come back because it was littered with KOL grifters, 90 IQ leeches on the space. They get free allocations. Their entire business is promoting coins that they get free allos to every other week. They run stupid award shows, which like, bro, what? You run award shows for like scamming your audience? Like, how are you, like, what are we talking about here? That's insane. Like, I would rather just find like a higher time frame thesis where you've got like layers to the alpha and beta with an 18-month positive correlation, with a correlation coefficient of like 0.9 plus on all of them, and just sit and wait for the market to perk up. Enjoy my long-term cap gains when the time comes. You don't have to catch a generational ticker of the week. You can sit comfy in these highly correlated beta plays to Ethereum and Pepe and just wait and just let the wind be at your back and catch a sick pump. I mean, people forget that, over here, Pepe was, 250 mil market cap at this low. And in a matter of 38 days, it pumped 10x, 11x, 38 days. People forget that over here, Andy was, 40 mil, and it pumped to 300 plus mil, 800% in 26 days, less than that, 24 days. People forget like how quick a pump can really happen. And the biggest catalyst, the biggest wind at your back possible for something like Pepe, Andy, and Wolf is their alpha Ethereum finally not being the dog, being the laggard of this cycle, and ETH BTC moving up. They've accomplished all that they have, Pepe included, during incredibly suboptimal conditions. Just wait and see what they can do when the market really turns up. And then I made a video on this somewhat recently. It was like Monday, I think. Here's Doge up top here. You know what Doge's market cap was over here? Doge's market cap was 25 mil. And look what you had to hold through. If you were holding Doge back then, a 96% correction from high to low. And then all these little, reaccumulation corrections, minus 54, minus 60, minus 80. And then beta turns up. This is Doge. I'll change the colors. Doge is a 25 mil market cap coin. And then Ethereum goes into price discovery. And Doge goes from 25 mil. ETH goes into price discovery, and Doge, which was 25 mil market cap in here. From the moment ETH goes into price discovery, Doge ripped a 90x in less than a year. Doge over here is basically Andy and Wolf right now. But Andy and Wolf are both higher than 25 mil market cap. And then over here, for those that didn't catch my video, you should really go watch it. I made the video. It was dropped on Monday. Look at these grueling pullbacks that you had in here, you know, minus 65%, minus 75%, minus 70%, minus 56%. And then ETH goes into price discovery. And Doge ripped 100x in like 4 or 5 months. More than that. 30,000% move. But if you didn't understand what you were holding and what you were waiting for, you would have gotten shaken out on these minus 60, 70% drops. So how's that any different than what we're dealing with right now? It's the exact same with Pepe, Andy, and Wolf. ETH will go into price discovery, and then Doge will aggressively reprice higher, and then Pepe will, and then Andy will, and then Wolf will. I just think people aren't seeing it. You know, they're just too caught up with like the current valuations, you know. They're benchmarking it to its all-time high and saying, "Oh, it's just down. Like I'm bearish because price is low." That's the most normie way of thinking about it. Is price is low, I'm bearish on it. Is the thesis solid? Is it sound? Is it correct? Is what we're seeing in the market happening the way that we need it to? Then if the answer to that is yes, meaning you think ETH is going to go into price discovery, which is going to trigger Doge going into a ripper, and the positive correlation remains intact, which I'm showing you right here, it does, then you should be looking at cheap prices and cheap valuations and going, oh, that's not bearish, that's incredible opportunity. But most people they only focus on the price and they just go, oh, price is down, that must mean bad. No, is the thesis, is the correlation, is the potential still there? If the answer is yes and prices are low, then it's a scoop, then it's a steal. I'm just saying, I know what's likely to happen here. Took a lot of shit for these coins because I see it as clear as day. And the last thing that I think about is the money. The money, the size of my bags, it's not money. It's my conviction level. How many tokens I hold is the degree of conviction that I have in the thesis and in the correlations. People think of it as, oh, I've got, 20 grand in this coin, and, if it pumps, I'll have this much. If it dumps, I'll lose this much. It shouldn't be about that. When you're swing trading a high time frame chart, layered beta and alpha relationships, you think about the money last. The size of your bag has to do with the conviction that you have, with the thesis that you have, with how clearly and how likely you think that the outcome is to occur. My conviction has never been higher. Guys, my cost basis is higher than my average, than my bags on Andy. That's how much of it I've bought and I own. They said I would dump on everybody. I was getting my taxes ready for the deadline in 2 weeks, and I realized that I'm actually down on my lifetime Andy position because I've bought so much. I know what's coming. I am so ready. Price is down. It's cooked. No. That's not how you measure something being cooked. How you measure something being cooked is whether all the large holders bailed on you, whether they gave huge free tokens to KOL grifters that just dumped and preyed on their audience, whether it was just the Solana crime of the week. When you're looking at these charts, I don't understand how you cannot see the potential in this. You could say to me, Max, ETH won't make a new all-time high. Okay, if ETH doesn't make a new all-time high, then it's all dead. Then it's over. You can't tell me dilution, because we've had dilution, but the charts remain perfectly positively correlated to one another. Perfectly. Through good times, through bad times, through heavy dilution, through soft dilution. The argument doesn't fit here. They had their chance to be diluted and go to zero, all of them. Do what you're going to do. I can only show you. I can only show you what I'm seeing. But when I make my colors this clear, when I make the charts this clear, I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know what else I can do, you know? It's clear as day. It's as clear as day.
Well, I mean, I really don't know how to follow up that. Yeah, I mean, you heard it here. I mean, what else is there to say? Man, you cooked. You absolutely cooked.
People were hungry, you know?
Yeah.
People were hungry.
Rightfully so. I think, I mean, you made a lot of really good points across the board. I alluded to the fact kind of earlier in the live stream that the markets are going to make people believe again. There will be that shift. You know, there'll always be kind of the, you know, rotational effects within this market. That's just, you know, coincides with the speculatory nature of it. But a lot of assets are going to get repriced a lot higher. And like you said, the ones that have done, you know, what's necessary with how they fit into whatever higher time frame narrative or thesis they fall into, you know, if they've done it the right way, they've remained strong in nature, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, if it's like a fundamental play, do the devs continue to cook? If it's a meme play, does the community continue to, you know, be there through thick and thin? You kind of get the point. You know, the plays that have been able to stick through this, and with what we're about to see from, you know, this Q4, what I believe to be is going to be a very, very strong Q4. It's hard for me to be bearish on really much at all. You know, I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole of, you know, future price targets or whatever, and nobody has a crystal ball. You know, nobody has a crystal ball and like the exact, you know, exactly where it's going to go. But regardless of the fact, Q4 is going to be bullish. Regardless of the fact, assets across the board are going to fundamentally be repriced higher. And Max gave you guys a great roadmap in regards to how that pertains to the boys club. You know, I mean, I could give you a roadmap in fundamentals. I don't think there needs to, like, I don't need to go much further down that street, because what Max's point says, or what he said to Max's point, this is going to play out for not only the boys club, but for a lot of other names within the sector, right? And I'm not talking just meme coins. I'm talking lots and lots and lots of different tickers. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to sprinkle that on there. I think you freaking cooked, bro. Freaking cooked. So I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to that. I think that was pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm with you. I think the only thing we need to watch out for is, that maybe sweep of the Q4 open, but besides that, I'm not really too concerned with Q4. I think it's pretty clear it's going to be bullish. So yeah, I don't see a reason why ETH shouldn't be above 5K with gusto here soon, which is really what needs to happen. So yeah.
Guys, I think that's a good place to end the show. Leave us a like on your way out. Happy October. Happy Q4. Thanks for being here as always. Greatly appreciate it. Like I just said, leave us a like on the way out. Leave us a comment on the way out. Someone clip that cook session and tag me in it. Let the people know. But guys, check out bbterminal.com. It's the link above my chart there. We basically built out a better version of Dex Screener with custom tools, wallet tracking, holder distribution analysis, everything that you need to dabble in shitcoins built by us for you guys. We got order execution coming soon. We would love and appreciate if you guys would make the switch over to bbterminal.com, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. And there is probably like 90% of it's free. If you want to upgrade to some premium stuff, there's some indicators and stuff like that. But check it out, guys. It is absolutely top tier. Thanks for being here. Again, show us some love on the way out, and we will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Market Checks. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and take care.